Hello and welcome to Mystic Visions. This is a monthly reading for February for Cancer. If you are a Cancer friend, this is for you. Now this is a general reading and I'll be using my adaptation of a Celtic Cross. And if you are a regular subscriber to the channel, you may have noticed that I haven't been quite so active this month. And that's because my daughter was just born on January 23rd. So I may just do the monthly readings for just a little while until things settle down. Then we'll see how it goes from there. But we're going to go ahead and get started with your monthly reading for Cancer. Alright. Let's give it a little bit more here. Okay. Really cool cards here for you. Alright. Okay, for Cancer, your situation is the Fool here. So this is like, the Fool is not a negative thing or like a insult in the context of the tarot. This is childlike energy. This is a blank slate. It's just starting off on some part of or some new journey or something like that. And it's really, one of my favorites. It's really great to have this sort of faithful energy. Almost always the Fool is kind of like about to walk off a cliff. And there's always like something holding it back, like a dog or a bird or something like that, kind of pulling on his garment to keep him from going off the edge. So to me, this kind of means that when you have that sort of faithful, childlike mentality, the universe has a way of sort of protecting you or looking out for you. It really loves that sort of faithful energy, and it rewards it. So whatever higher power there is, this tends to sort of guard you in that regard. Guard in that regard. That's funny. Anyway, it's your current situation. So you're feeling a little bit like you're willing to take some risks. You're willing to do some new things or try some new things, start on a new adventure. And it's wonderful. You're being influenced by this Knight of Wands, and this is all about action and doing. And sometimes it's not very careful. It's a little bit just rushing in, shoot first, ask questions later, that type of thing. So, again, there's a lot of energy here in this situation. There's a lot of, and you're being influenced in this way as well. So it could be that you already kind of feel that way. You already feel a little bit wild, but you're also being pushed that way a little bit even more. So it may be, at some point, there may be a need for you to find some sort of balance or to temper this a little bit. Now, you're moving away from this Ten of Cups, so, and the Ten of Cups is like in the reverse. Ten of Cups is typically a really wonderful, happy home energy and everything. This is what you've been focusing on. And you're really moving away from, or you're moving away from resisting that. So it gets a little complicated with the relations that go on here. But so the resistance of that is, not wanting it or something like that. So it's kind of a positive for you to be moving away from the resistance to that Ten of Cups energy. So in a way, it's kind of like you're moving toward the upright Ten of Cups. I know that's very complex, but what this tells me is that there's two things here. First of all, you're moving toward having a more happy outlook on life and that kind of thing. But the other thing is the very orientation of that card tells me that you're a person who tends to spin things in a positive. You have a good way of making even bad situations feel as though it's working out in your favor. And that's sort of like a meta reading of that card there because of its position and how complicated that ended up being. Typically, it's very simple what you're moving away from, but in this case, it was a little bit weird, right? So it tells me that you're a little bit of a person who can, spin. You're the spin doctor, right? You have the ability to take the situation and make it seem like it's a positive for you, even if it's really not. And the energy that you're moving toward here is this magician, which is really awesome, and it's also appropriate because the 0 is the first card here, the Fool, and the very next step, the first place he ends up is the magician. So the way that I like to look at that is you are on this road of growth and development. You are moving forward. You are not stagnant. So it's really just going to be a matter of reining in that really optimistic and quick acting energy so that things don't come crashing down, because you don't want to sort of come down off of this high place that you're on where you're in a good mindset and you're in a powerful mindset. You're going to want to, balance things a little. And so the magician here is really good at manifesting. That's what it's all about. He thinks something and it happens. It's kind of like he knows exactly what should be. And there's a little bit of a secret here. And the secret is it's not just raw willpower where the magician just makes something occur. The magician knows what needs to occur. He knows what will occur. And because of that, he's in alignment with the universe itself, and whatever he feels like ought to happen is just sort of happening at the present moment. So it's kind of weird, but it's like, and if you've ever really experienced this in a really deep way, it can be a little bit, it can almost cause you an anxiety attack to experience this, because what happens is you almost feel as though whatever you're thinking all of a sudden pops out in the world around you, in the environment. And it's almost as if, if you believe in God or something like that, it's almost as if maybe he's picking on you, to where every time you think of something, all of a sudden it gets thrown in your face in the external environment. And it's a little bit, you can almost go down a schizophrenic episode. But on the other hand, if you kind of realize what's going on here, what's going on is that you're so in tune with the environment around you, with the universe and the way that it operates. You are kind of knowing a few steps ahead of time what's about to occur or what's likely to occur. And it's a flow state that's accessible by everybody. Everybody can do that. But if you've never done it before, if you've gone through your whole life and never felt that, it can be very jarring for you to experience it. But it's really, like I said, it's just basically a knowing of what needs to happen or what will happen. Sort of the Murphy's Law is not what can, or it's what can happen does happen. It's not what only bad things happen. But what can happen is what will happen. And so recognizing what exactly the mechanics of the universe around you are, is how you move forward from the Fool to just kind of going with that flow and understanding, and it almost, again, seems like you're manifesting instantaneously whatever you think about. Foundation of the situation here is the Chariot in the reverse, and so this is like, where does this lesson come from? What's the overall thing going on here? The Chariot is typically about success, victory, a sort of coming of age. So this can be like, graduating high school, but now you're getting into the real world, right? But in the reverse here, it's like there's a little bit of a lack of that. There's a lack of self-accomplishment, or you're not feeling victorious. You're feeling like there's still something that you need to set off to do. And this could be driving that real strong energy to move forward or to act or to do. Feeling like there's still more to accomplish, feeling like you need to continue on the journey, so to speak. So what we have in your crowning thoughts here, this is the Justice card. Justice is a little bit more of like a logic or thinking things through on a sort of mathematical equation type of a way. But it could also be that you're wanting things to be or to reflect justice. You're wanting things to be fair. You're seeking fairness. You're seeking this sort of equitable, balanced attitude. So you may already kind of know what I said earlier about, needing some sort of balance, because balance is very much on your mind here. So you're looking for the way forward to not end up crashing this whole thing that you've got going. Your advice here is the Ten of Swords. So Ten of Swords is somewhat of a grim card here, where fellow's got swords just sticking all through his back, and he's done. He's he's lost. But the real message of the Ten of Swords is not that all is lost. It's that there is always something coming on the horizon. There's almost always in this card like a sunrise that's occurring on the background here. And so the idea is, even when things look at their worst, even when things are really, really grim, there's always this sort of positive silver lining to focus on in the scene as well. Something is good that comes of every situation. There's no purely evil or purely good situation. There's always elements of both. And so in the advice here, what this is asking you to do to maintain this positive direction and energy that you have is to not get too sidetracked by downfalls, by things that are losses, but to instead look at how those losses can carry you forward in a positive way. That's how you keep that ball rolling. Instead of getting too discouraged or despondent about how things go, you have to always focus on that element of good that's in it. And, it can be exhausting sometimes to do it. So we all have moments of weakness where we break down and we just need a shoulder to cry on. But the overall direction or the overall demeanor that you need to be tapping into is that tendency to look for the positive, to keep things going, and instead of letting it go every time things don't work out your way. Now, environment card here is your Hermit in the reverse. And so around you, there's a little bit of an unwillingness to go into the internal realm. There's a lot of people that are fixated on what's going on around them. There's a lot of action that's happening in the outside world, and there's not a whole lot of reflection, or there's not a lot of space for reflection or meditation or things like that. So resist that temptation a little bit and find a way to reflect on what's going on in your life. That's not to say to be overly cautious or anything. The Fool energy is really wonderful. I wouldn't discourage you from that, but be careful about things getting a little too hectic, because you're just kind of following the environment around you. Follow yourself, not the environment, right? So if you're feeling that way, that's good, but let it be something that is really just something seated within yourself, and don't be pushed down any particular road by other people who might take advantage of the fact that you have that forward momentum. They may try to use that momentum for themselves. So what you want to do is you want to figure out your own way instead of being just pushed around by others. And the fears card for you here is the Five of Coins. Five of Coins represents needing charity, right? So, and specifically, there's help available, but you just kind of don't want to ask for it. It's kind of a pride thing a lot of times. Or sometimes it can be just that you're not focused on it. You're not focused on the fact that there are people who are willing to help you, and it's okay for you to receive that help. There's just some sort of a trepidation about that. And this is in your fears. So you don't want to be dependent on others. You don't want to be looking to others for your sustenance or for getting by in life. You want to be self-sufficient. You want to be able to do it all on your own. But the thing about it is it's just a fact of life. It's not just your situation. It's not. You can be a billionaire, and you can still end up at some point in your life needing others to help you out. You might need a nurse to help you, change your diapers when you're at a certain age. And oh boy, what an awful thing for a self-sufficient person to have to rely on somebody else for something like that. So debasing, right? Such a lack of dignity. But on the other hand, it's not, because everybody needs that help. We're all born a gurgling baby, and we all end up, well, you know, hopefully if we live that long, ending up needing that same help again at the end of our life. And that's a lesson that life is trying to teach you, that you can't do it by yourself. It doesn't matter what you do in this life, you're going to need some help. You're going to need somebody to look out for you. And so, and you know, that's the message of human history. All throughout human history, people have tried to do it alone. And the consistent message is you can't do it alone. You have to have help. You have to be able to play nice with other people, and you have to be able to be humble. And that's really what it's about, is that humility is necessary, because that's how you get other people to work with you, or to want to work with you. Now, your overall message here is the Six of Cups in the reverse. Six of Cups is normally very nostalgic, but this is sort of like looking back on the past and thinking negative things. So you're going to want to, this may be the source of where the imbalance occurs, because if you're carrying forward too much or too ambitious about the future, it could indicate that you don't feel like you've done enough in the past. And this is also kind of where the Chariot in the reverse comes in, where you're feeling a little lack of accomplishment, or you're looking back not with fondness at the past, or not with like good nostalgic emotions, but you're kind of feeling like you don't like what happened in the past. You're kind of maybe a little bit angry about it, or resentful about what happened in the past. And so that could be driving you forward to keep going and to want newer horizons, or to want to accomplish new things. And so perhaps that's really the key to this whole situation for you, is to be able to look back and not necessarily see things as boy, I sure went through some hard things, you know, it really messed me up. But instead, look at how those situations actually turned out in your benefit, or helped you develop or grow, and how you're better off for having gone through those things instead of, you know, where you were. You don't want to look back with regret, that's for sure. And it's not a matter of, you know, the past is such that you have to regret it. You can always change your focus. You don't have the power to change what happens to you, what you go through, or maybe you do, but, you know, let's say for argument's sake that you can't change what you're going to end up going through. Well, that's fine, but what you can always change is how you react to it, or how you look at it, how you choose to kind of file all these things away in your mind. You have the power to change your outlook on the situation. So this is asking you to do that, and that may be exactly the element of balance that you're missing here. So thank you for watching. That's it for February's reading for Cancer, and I will see you guys again next time.